What's up, and welcome to the Sisterhood Corner. To the newbies, welcome. To those who've been here before, welcome back. Today I'll be reading about 3 letters. The first one says, Parental Distress. Hi, Sisterhood Corner. I am a woman and a mom to 2 boys, aged 10 and 14. Though the ideal world for me would have been one where both children shared a father, that's not the case. I am no longer with both my boys' fathers, and even though I'm not struggling to raise them from a financial perspective, I'm dealing with the mother of all parenting issues. Up until a year ago, I was so happy to have my boys, as they really never gave me any hassles. They were so well-mannered, good with the chores, and never got any bad, and I never got any bad reports from their school teachers either. Out of nowhere, my 14-year-old did a complete 360 on me. He started sneaking out at night, drinking, smoking, and just being overall rude to me and everybody else, including his teachers. I've been called by his teachers after he bunked school several times, and they advised that he had started hanging with the wrong crowd. After I spoke to him and asked him to confide in me, he told me he wanted to see his father. Now, this is the father who wanted nothing to do with me after I fell pregnant, telling me he was married. I explained everything to my son, and though I made an effort to contact the father to explain that his son needed him, he blocked me everywhere. Social media, phone, everything. After this, my son got worse. Now he insults me and tells me I'm a bad mother. He calls me names and tells me that it is my fault he doesn't have a father. Now, it doesn't help that my youngest son's father is present and often shows up for his son. This makes my 14-year-old feel like I love his brother more because of what his father does for him. I recently lost my temper and put my hands on him. The boy went straight to the police station, and I spent a night at the police cells. The father of my youngest got me out. My health is suffering because of the situation. I'm losing weight and have lost concentration at work, resulting in me getting a written warning for the first time ever in my entire working life. I'm beginning to resent my son, as all of his behavior has also resurrected my past pain I enjoyed with his father. I feel helpless, but mostly guilty for my choice of men, or should I say, inability to choose a good dad for him. I know what having a good father is like through mine, and it hurts me. Or I know what having a good father feels like through mine. So I take it what she means is through her own father. She obviously has a good dad. And it hurts to know that I couldn't do the same for my child. Thank you so much for your letter. Thank you for trusting us with your sensitive story. I think that, sadly, this is the plight of a lot of single mothers raising sons. Not all, but a lot. Where the father obviously is not present. And I think I've often heard some women use the following words. They feel like they're getting punished for being the parent that stayed. Now, I'm really sorry you're going through that. It is never an easy, journey to navigate. And I think also the fact that they are your child, but remember they're a human being. and human beings are naturally complex. Human beings are naturally complex. So, how somebody thinks, how somebody processes things, um, unless they tell you, it's one of those very difficult things to navigate. Now, I want to touch on the fact that, because I can see this is a letter that you've written out of not just pain, but also guilt. Because you mentioned somewhere there about your choice in men, choosing the wrong father for him. My lady, let's start with dealing with the guilt. I want you to erase the guilt, get rid of the guilt. Life does not have a manual. Parenting does not have a manual. You only do your best and pray your best is good enough. You will never know what type of parent you are or were to your child until they grow up and they give you the feedback. In some cases, they don't give you the feedback, right? So stop beating yourself up about the kind of parent that you've been and your choices. Life has already happened. Now we need to look forward. Okay? Because those feelings are exactly what's going to keep um, messing with your mental health. All right? And that's not a good thing. Now, you do say that you're no longer with, you do say that the youngest one, with the youngest one, the father shows up and all of that. And I think that I like the fact that that part you can pick up, that, that part doesn't help much. But unfortunately, it is reality, right? It is the reality that the 14-year-old would need to be set down and have this explained to him and how that dynamic works. However, with that having been said, as a woman, you can only be a mom, but you don't know what it's like to be a man. You are not a man. And you will never understand how a male processes things. Now, that's where the male family members that you have would have to step in, right? That's where your male family members come in. I don't know how close you are to your uncle's brother, things like that, because that's where they come in. Because those are the people who will be able to sit down with the boy and talk to him man to man. Right? I don't know if you've had an opportunity to do that, because I could still say, oh, take him for counseling, but the bottom line is certain things need a specific touch, right? And if it was a girl child, it's different. You're a woman, you've been a woman before, you'd be able to, you know what I mean, from a woman's perspective. Now, with your son, as it is, he feels like you don't even get him. You don't even understand anything about what he's going through. Which chances are you think you do, but you might not get it from a male perspective. So my thing is, you really, really might have to get a male member of the family to chat to him. And I say male member of the family because I don't think your youngest son's father can talk to him. He already sees him as an enemy. The fact that he looks at that relationship like, oh, and you love that one more because, the father is present, that alone is already damaged. I don't see how that man can get to him in any way, shape, or form, right? Even if you try to talk to him. So he sees you as like a little family that you guys have created, not understanding the dynamics either, right? So I think that could potentially be your first start, right? I know a lot of people equate it to, oh, teenagers are like this, teenagers are like that. But just because he's a teenager, it doesn't mean we can't then work around correcting that behavior. Because yes, he's a teenager, but if that behavior is left to continue, all the smoking, the drinking, and sneaking out of home, it could lead to real, repercussions later on. He could grow up to also be an adult that just doesn't like authority, in which case he won't be able to keep a job in future. He won't be able to do much in terms of discipline. So that's not okay. You need to be disciplined, and because that's where everything starts in life, right? An adult that's ill-disciplined, really, that's a disaster waiting to happen. So start with getting a male member of your family, right? Now, I also know people who've sent their kids to discipline camp as a second option. And with that male member of the family, hopefully it's somebody that can take him for a week or two and stay with him, right? It's not a conversation a once off, by the way, right? It's somebody that, so I don't know if he has a favorite uncle or something. It has to be something like that, right? But I also do know people who've taken their kids to discipline camp, and some have raved about it and how well it has worked, because the kid was, you know, given a dose of a reality check of some sort, and they were never the same. They came back and they were disciplined. So perhaps that could be your last option. But I don't see how things like counseling are going to work here. Perhaps other people might differ, but I think you're at a point where he needs a stronger and firmer approach. You know what I mean? That will help him see reality, snap out of whatever it is that he's going through. Because it's clearly a phase. If all along he was fine, it's a phase. And now also that crowd that he hangs around, it is then that male person that will guide him and say to him, listen, this is the wrong crowd you're hanging out with. He might have to find out from the teachers which boys those are. That way, when he talks to him, he has all the information, and this boy knows I can't lie here. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm thinking. Now, coming back to you, number one, I think there's a lot of, if you go to HR, they should be able and explain your situation. Surely your company would be able to assist you in terms of providing a psychologist for you. Because I know there are some companies, I used to work for a company like that, if you're going through things in your private space, and then they will help you with securing a psychologist to help you. Because now the last thing you need is to also lose your job over this. Because now it's better to, as the sole provider for the kids, you have to have your income, right? And you can't work unless you're okay mentally. So, which means you need effective counseling yourself. This has been a traumatic experience, especially like you said, it happened out of nowhere. So, perhaps start there. And if obviously the company can't provide anything like that, book yourself in for sessions. If you have to be part of a support group of women who've dealt with something similar, do it. But whatever happens, you need to deal with that so that it doesn't affect your work. So that you can cope better, because that's all it is. For going forward, you just have to find ways to cope. The problem is here, and you don't know how long it's going to last. All you can do is try your best. Ask for help where there is a need for that. And weather the storm. But I don't think it's impossible. I think 14, he's still quite young. He can still change. I think that he just needs, it's all about positioning him in the hands of the right people, right? And if the male family relative can help, then it's on to the next thing, which is disciplinary camp. But whatever you do, as you try and do your best, give this your best shot, do everything possible to get him back on track. Do not forget about you. Because also, as you suffer, then that affects your mothering as well for the little one. And he's the baby of the house, right? So he's still younger, and he still needs that mushy, you know what I mean, side to you, right? So, and I pray that when it's all said and done, the person that helps your 14-year-old helps them also understand that the way you're going to mother him and as the older brother is different from how you're going to mother the baby of the house, right? Babies of the house are generally handled with kitty gloves. And that's something he also needs to eventually do, like look out for his baby brother in the same fashion, right? So it's things like those, that's why I'm saying that the mind, the human mind is very complex. But look after yourself while navigating this. Don't neglect yourself now just to focus on this, because then that won't help anybody. I hope I've given the 2 cents I've given you will help. I hope that you get through this. I know you will. I believe you will. Um, he's still young. Things can still turn around. So I wish you the best, strength and power to you.